Bam, we're live.
Love it.
Morning, now in new locations on the profile of Mike Wallace. At least we're testing that out. So if you are seeing this on Mike's feed, actually, I'm curious. Why don't we since we don't really have an agenda today, we can do a little screen sharing and maybe learn some LinkedIn stuff.
And then I think we get success with that, Scott, right? We'll go into Instagram Live and Facebook Live as well, too, for the members' benefit, right?
Do you get
there? So
do you have I don't use Facebook and Instagram. Do you have
we do. Blue Water maintains. We maintain both of those social media channels. And I would say primarily the majority of our members, right, tag into us via LinkedIn, right? Either the Blue Water business page or via my own profile, which kind of drives people to the Blue Water business page. But however they decide to do that. But we do still maintain active posting on the Facebook Blue Water account, right? And the Blue Water also has a business Instagram page, right? And so we'll explore, right, opportunities to post live and go live on those two social media channels as well, too.
Yeah, it can't hurt,
right? So we're just kind of trying this out on our LinkedIn channel. So
sure. No, I think those profiles of if people hang out over there, might as well catch them as well. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of show what.
So it's streaming. Pops up. Yeah, it's streaming.
Yeah, it's streaming on your profile.
Okay, great.
And then it pops up as a post essentially. So
we shot it out to a few members this morning. Chris Murray was one. Chris Couch, Scott Topple.
Yeah, I just was curious if it would show up as an event on your profile. Right. I guess it doesn't. The main event is still on my profile. So either way, I'm curious if somebody else sees something different here and sees the share button because.
Well, maybe we got anybody listening, right? If anybody's listening and playing around out there, let us know what you see, right? So,
right, because it helps to let people know how this works. Because, hold on, I'm going to mute this. So now this is inside the current event, view event details. Yeah, so when you go to any event, of course, so if you're watching our show or whatever, you want to share it, you can click join, hit the share button, send it to somebody in a feed, repost it to your own feed. And this, of course, helps us out. My whole goal with doing this show was to get Mike Wallace and Blue Water into the digital platform easier.
The digital world, right?
Yeah. And so just a great way to and I think other people should set up their own events and do these things as well. So anytime you can do the share button, or if you're watching on YouTube, of course, people know how to hit the like and share button there. And what that does is anytime a post goes out at all, it helps the algorithms. Like here's my buddy Will for the Men Talking Mindfulness podcast with John McCaskill, a Navy SEAL. Every time I hit that like, it's going to show his post to more people in my audience. And I think more people should know about Will. So I'm like doing him a little favor, and that's kind of how easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and and just for the members out there, right? I mean, don't just, I would say forward this to the masses. Or if you do, at the end of each one of our cohorts, our members remember, and this is how we say it to them, Scott, and I know you've heard me say this before. It's like, hey, if you want somebody in your network, then we probably want them in ours. Yeah. And I phrase it that way because this is special, what we're building here at Blue Water, right? This is like-minded, former successful leaders, senior leaders, right? Wearing the uniform, navigating their career progression. They're going to be successful out there, but you got to bring the right mindset, right, to what it is we're trying to build here. This is something special, right, where together, the power lies in the togetherness and the one team, right? And having a open and willing mindset to help those new members that are coming around, just like the network served current members' needs when they stepped in.
Mhm.
And we're a network now of getting close to 400 senior leaders out there spread across 175, 185 different industries and companies with very focused, keen insight into this. And think about it, if you're a new member plugging into this, that is now available to you, right? And we understand, right? Wearing the uniform, senior leadership, they don't have enough time to build their network. So we're excited to build this for them, ready day one, right? Ready on arrival, on their arrival when they plug into this, and they can move quickly and rapidly through their career progression with like-minded professionals, right? Just like themselves, and that's the power of it. So again, if you're listening out there, yes, forward it out. We like getting the word out. But if you're looking, members, if you're looking for somebody to send our way, remember, it's just, don't send those individuals who aren't open-minded mentors, right? If they're not open to that type of mindset, then this is probably not a good place for them to land, right? They need to be open, they need to be willing to share and to help the team per se, right?
That's what I respect most about what you're doing in drawing kind of a line in the sand there, or what I like to call a red velvet rope policy.
Yeah.
One of the business guys I went to, one of the seminars I went to kind of learn how to be self-employed, essentially, he had all these kind of mantras. Only serve those whom you are meant to serve. Have a red velvet rope policy. It works out better for everybody in the end. And that's the hardest part with any new business, is you're trying to serve everybody. I know I can help and stuff.
Yeah.
So knowing whom you're meant to serve,
Exactly.
specifically, really helps. And part of the idea with sharing anything, and I kind of think one of the ideas that you gave me just as you were talking there about making this networking quicker, that's where a tool like LinkedIn comes into play, because it's going to be there anyways now, because it's kind of expected in the job hiring realm now these days, right? So using it just blindly, or even getting good at it on your own, is nice. But then having the established network, this is where things get interesting with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so if you're connecting with more of the like-minded people and not just random folks, whenever things do get shared, it's more likely to get shared. LinkedIn wants to send it to the right person.
Sure.
Right. Whatever. And they want to send you stuff that you want to see. So the idea is to be connected, or like the kind of things, or engage with the types of posts that you want more information of, or want more connection of, and let LinkedIn make those connections for you.
Scott, it's a great segue for us just to kind of jump in just quickly on Blue Water Digital, right?
Yeah.
You've heard us talk about this, and we're going to launch that, a version of that program this year. And Blue Water Digital is going to allow members to access an online platform that will give them visibility to the entire Blue Water network, instead of just their cohort, their lunch roundtable. And then in today's case, if they want to interface with the wider Blue Water network, it's myself or Steve Weeman or Todd Flannery or Dave Wade, like some person's in the loop, right? Blue Water Digital is going to be above and beyond that and allow members to access that themselves. Now, we've had individuals come to go, oh, well, Mike, what are you doing? You're just building, you're having Marathon Consulting, who's our IT partners in building this. They're saying, yeah, you're just building LinkedIn. I go, no. Like, LinkedIn is the Wild West. You don't know who you're out there. Blue Water Digital is the red velvet rope policy, right? This is this senior leadership. They all fundamentally started by going through a cohort. They all have the same fundamental, right, understanding of how to approach career progression. They all agree, right, to mentor and preserve these keen insights. And so it really is a homogeneous group, right, that are all set up. And we've even had members start to kind of open the aperture a little bit, and I'd love to see this. They're saying, hey, Mike, I see Blue Water Digital is like, this isn't just until I get a job and land. Like, that's my network for the rest of my professional career. And I'm
Right.
like, hallelujah, absolutely, right? I mean, why would you not want to maintain that network that you found success with, continue to stay with it and grow? And the answer to that is, of course, you would, right? And they absolutely, once they start navigating through career progression, they see the value of this thing. So, not to kind of digress into that. Let me segue real quick. You and I haven't chatted, right, for a little bit of time. So bring me up to speed on what you've been up to. I know you've been doing some traveling.
Yeah, I was actually. I brought up the website here. I was out in Denver, at the. So IVMF is come up recently in your talks. I know, and I know with John Malfitano, you've got
at Syracuse University doing the Onward to Opportunity
them.
program. Yeah.
Right. So we mentioned a little bit about. I got asked by Bunker Labs to do some workshops around the country, but that was before they got acquired by IVMF. So this event was just it was a mission to marketplace. It was an entrepreneurship. It happened to be in the Denver area. Most people, of course, were local or somewhere in Colorado. But it was just an example of, there's 130 people there. They brought out, it was all free. They had, a speaker, Stephen. Here we go. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me share my whole screen here. Got too fancy. Share screen window.
Just as a reminder, if you need anybody to carry your bags to these kind of trips, you can always call me. I'll lug your luggage as we get to go to these things, right? So,
I mean, yeah, because this one, the other ones were kind of one-offs. This was had an event. So Steven's not a veteran. His dad was a military, but his business partner's a Navy SEAL, and they do consulting on how to scale businesses. He's got a new book coming out, but he was the main speaker. Just sold his business for $100 million.
Wow, so that a big success, right?
Yeah, so got a chance to speak with people like him. Amazon was there representing. Because sponsored by Amazon, so it had all the food was taken care of. It was really nice, and then there's some breakout rooms, and I presented at one of the breakout sessions. But I just wanted to say, I didn't know about this type of event, or I wouldn't have. I don't know if. I'm sure things like this exist in the Hampton Roads area, of course. Maybe
John would probably be a good guy to plug in with and ask that question, right?
Right. Whether IVMF or not, it's just to be more aware of these types of events. You never know who you're going to meet. Yes, this was a entrepreneurship event, but I met a guy there, already retired a few years ago, was at Amazon, did his 3 years, decided to leave. He was in between, and he was like, well, I think I'm gonna get another job, but I'm starting to dabble in entrepreneurship. That's why I'm here. I'm just exploring options.
Exciting.
So anyways, that's that was the main thing where I was at. Then the other thing that I've been working on, I won't stop the share. No, I've been really kind of finalizing our main, since I don't have cohorts, like, to get people in a room for a day to talk about life insurance isn't really, the ideal thing. And we don't want to necessarily
more than that, right? I mean, I again, for the audience, I don't want you to for a second sell yourself short and just kind of lump it into that. Your insight is invaluable as you can discuss programs like SBP and TST and how to approach that and just letting members know, right, that there's options out there. While it may come down to ultimately, an insurance discussion, your insights, Scott, are so much more than that. And that's what I love about what you bring to the table is, and we advertise you. You've seen every one of our members that register for a cohort. When we send them, the response email initially, we put, US Vet Wealth information right in there. And we say, hey, look, I understand you may have questions about survivor benefit plan or thrift savings plan. Not my wheelhouse, right? We're
Right.
specifically going to focus on how to, navigate your career progression, industries, companies, how to pursue them and how to find success there. But an equally important part of that time in most of our members' life is what you do on the financial side. And again, if I could just segue, very same model that in June, right? Our June, what is it? June 26th cohort. We're inviting Sarah Cummings, right? And I'm going to kind of hold this up here. Sarah Cummings, there's her little card. I keep it right on my desk. All sorts organizing, right? And similar model and relationship that you and I have experienced on US Vet Wealth, but this is now more on the wellness side, right? Executive coaching side. Sarah brings a lot of that expertise to the table that not all, but some of our members do need. And so I love what we're building here, these relationships where, man, our membership can come and plug into Blue Water, but it's so much bigger than that, right? I mean, there's US Vet Wealth, there's all sorts of organizing. And these are absolutely important resources, not all, but many of our members benefit from, right? And you guys are filling that. So sorry to segue, but the way you said that, you go, it's just, dude,
No.
we look at you and everything that you bring to the table is so much more than that, Scott. So much more, right?
Well, no, I appreciate that, of course, because what I was getting at was, I've obviously written books and a lot of videos and stuff on
you
this.
have written a lot of books. How
Yeah.
many books have you written now, for gosh sakes, right?
Four books. But some of them were experiments. I was just trying to get ideas out, and anyways, it's been a good approach for letting people know kind of what we do, of course.
Right.
But I also recognize not everybody sits down and reads that way or learns that way. But I wanted to put together kind of my version of the cohort, but that you can watch in your own time at home. And it'll be a longer webinar, but the idea is, hey, if you sit down and you watch this or read the books, of course, you're going to get, in about an hour, the answer to a lot of these financial questions that come up around military retirement, but in the context, that's what makes it different. It's not just another boring life insurance conversation. I want to put it in the context of what is actually happening in your military retirement. We understand that the priorities are getting a new job, getting income. But all of a sudden, some of these military benefits decisions or just standard, all right, I got to take a look at my finances, kind of gets in the way. What's a way to do that without having to go through a whole nother pitch and do comprehensive financial planning and stuff? No, you need answers to questions or making decisions. And so that's what we're putting together to allow people to educate and make their decisions as they go.
No, it's important, right? And there's a lot to accomplish in our members' career progression as they step into it. It's a busy time, right? And that's a little bit kind of what makes us maybe somewhat unique. There's you've heard me say this before. It's an ocean of goodwill. There's no shortage of organizations out there, that claim to be the answer to what veterans should experience and what they need in transition. And I kind of chuckle, but it's not really funny. Many of those organizations are instructed and run by members that have never wore the uniform, right? I come across these individuals that espouse to be, I'm doing great things, and you're like, do you even know what it feels like to go through transition? Well, no, I was never in the service. Well, that's kind of a disclaimer to me almost. I mean, not 100%. You may have some insight value.
Either way, the point is, and this goes back to the red velvet rope policy. I think every member should have, every retiree should have their own version of that, and start to recognize, like, where do I want to get value from? What's going to be most useful for me? And the problem is there is just kind of a saturation of the goodwill. And I don't know the answer to
Everybody out
that.
there,
Just gotta kind of navigate.
don't misinterpret goodwill and intent with capability and currency, relevancy, and credibility in that message. They may have a big heart and want to help, but that may not be the best. For all our members out there, don't lose your critical eye. You may not be founded in your new professional, career yet, but every single member that steps up has a critical eye. You can judge credibility very, very quickly, and don't lose that. And be hard on these resources that are out there that are approaching you to claim that they have the answer. Have a questioning mindset, right?
Well, I mean, that goes.
One other thing I would just say real quick, and I'm interested to know what you think about this on our Blue Water Digital platform. In fact, I've got a meeting later today with Jim Gergen, who's one of the lead programmers for this thing. But our functionality, and I've received a couple questions on this. Our functionality, when this thing goes live, you won't be able to go on and just join the platform. There is you can request to join, and we review that information to kind of make sure the person who's pursuing is that pedigree of individual that we're looking for. And it may even, result in a one-on-one call from somebody on the team going out to this person going, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you looking to join Blue? This isn't just everybody gets in through the door. That's not what this is. You can request, and we'll review your request. And if we think you're a good addition, if you got the right mindset, then the gate opens, right? And we've had a few questions on that, but I come all the way back to the point you made. And we got to maintain the integrity of this to a certain degree, right? And the second that we lose that integrity, it kind of dilutes, right, the effectiveness of the overall network.
Yeah, so you're just being, very diligent in what Blue Waters is building. So, that's fair, of course. And with what your success rate for you had for people going through it is kind of amazing. So get in while it's hot, right? So you got a couple. Yeah. So what have you been up to? You had a cohort last week, right?
Yeah, we did. Another great cohort, right? Kudos to the Booz Allen leadership team, right? They've come on board, very excited. They give us pretty much open door to their facilities. So we instructed down at their Norfolk corporate office, right, near the airport there, and it was just it's a great day. And it's important, for our members. Often we will get approached by commands and say, hey, Mike, will you, Blue Water come and do this thing, and you can have this on base location or this thing. And we're just like, man, we've got to cut ties. And we think the message that we have is powerful, but delivering the message in an environment that is likely to resemble what many of our members will be immersed in their near future, right? I think that's just the 1-2 punch, right? Hearing the message in the environment that you may be associated with, right? Or as near as what we can, make that experience in it. But yeah, Booz is great. They've opened that up. We had a great turnout. Steve Weeman and Todd Flannery came down from DC, instructed with us. So it was the three of us. And then we had a great lunch roundtable there. Roy DeCoster from Two Circle joined us. Randy Stearns from TAC Air joined us. And then we had JJ Cummings, right, from Boeing joined us. And
right.
Those lunch roundtables, 3 individuals, non-attribution environment, our members can ask any questions that they want, right? And they quickly connect, right? They see themselves. Those guys are also former senior leaders, right? And who have now completed their career progression and landed at their next success. And now they're coming back to share those insights. And so our members, what we find is they quickly earn trust with that group. There's open dialogue. It's just, I love the lunch roundtables. They're good events. There's lots of insight that comes out. And more than anything else, for members that attend, they go, you know what? I can see myself in these individuals up there. They did it. This is how they did it. You know what? I can do this, right? And this is, and you just pick the swim lane or the direction that you want to go, right? and then we get busy building the bridge. But yeah, it was a really great great day, and no rest for the weary, right? I mean, we're already stepping into planning our Wednesday, June 26th cohort, and that'll be here before we know it, right? Can you believe we're in June? I mean, Scott, think about it, man. Summer is here, dude.
Yeah, no, it has been it's going to be an interesting year, that's for sure. I mean, well, actually, one of the last things since we didn't have a main topic for today, I starting to get interesting, things popping up in the economy, and just wanted, I was just kind of curious, what are you hearing, out there? Like, because I don't go to the traditional, CNBC or CNN or any of the news sources, or even for Bloomberg News. I don't watch any of that stuff. I kind of go to alternative stuff for things. So, when it comes to job markets and stuff, I haven't noticed, my circles, anybody, raising any sort of alarms or whatever. But
not really, right? I mean,
maybe we just, in this military space, that's kind of one of the advantages of the network, and having the defense industry, or I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think for a couple of things, a couple of thoughts on that is, yeah, you can get caught up in the news and the media and watching a lot of this, but what we see, right? I mean, if you look at the Blue Water Pipeline, it's full, right? And so we average, I don't know, there's one or two people that land at a new company or an industry a week, right? I mean, this week we had an individual step into a privately owned government contracting company, was negotiating a very successful, what I thought was a competitive offer up in DC. We had another member up in DC land with a company called Anduril. We had another Blue Water member land at Huntington Ingalls. So we are still seeing members, finding these successes as they pursue and target it, right, per our message and direction. And then the network continues to open up a lot of these opportunities for these individuals. So, but there are other companies that seem to kind of be slowing down, right? I mean, Boeing is one. Again, I don't have any analytical hard insight, but we haven't seen anybody kind of land with them for a while, right? And sometimes you just, as you normally, we have a couple of Blue Water members with Boeing, right? But over month, you just start to kind of notice, hey, there's been some slowdown, right? And there's interest. There's members that are absolutely interested. But maybe companies are just going through challenges. So that goes all the way back to the discussion we have with our members, right? You have to do your market analysis. You've got to absolutely understand what's going on in the industry and the company that you're pursuing, right? And then you have to go in with your eyes wide open. You never want to literally do on the job training, because the second that you land someplace, if it's in flux or in change, you're now along for that ride. Those are your challenges, right? Instead of assessing what it is up front. So, but yeah, the tech industry, I mean, there's still been some drawdowns. I mean, even Amazon has seen that, Meta, Facebook, Google, Apple, a lot of the tech companies, right? You're seeing some drawdowns. Even large defense industry, right? I don't know if you saw, it wasn't long ago, Northrop Grumman, I think it said that they had furloughed or let go, I think, 1,000 employees from their space program down in Florida. I mean, that's a chunk, right?
Yeah. But what are your thoughts when you see a chart like this? Because from the finance side of things, when I do look at big picture stuff, one of the things is, government spending, taxes, how are they going to fund all this kind of stuff? And what just happened recently, at least according to this chart from Yahoo Finance, is that red box is now just interest on our debt, because debt's now 34 trillion. Just interest on the debt is now greater than defense spending, veterans benefits, Medicare, Medicaid. And I'm just curious, do these kind of numbers impact how folks are thinking about finding jobs or in that side of space, because I'm not thinking, over there. Or is this just kind of how things are? And, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think
It's
it's going
kind
to
of
be a big
shocking.
contributor to inflation, obviously,
Yeah.
right? And how challenging it is for companies to compete in their specific swim lane or space.
What that means is
Yeah.
higher salaries, or it's going to need higher salaries, or people are going to need to negotiate, or maybe that's more of a reason to consider. Like you just said last week, you were talking with someone who you said, no, go in during your salary negotiation, just say this. He's like, what? No, I already like what
Yep.
they're offering. It's like, just say this. Sure
Yep.
enough, they called you back and said, dude, I got another $20,000. Thank you.
That's true. That's true.
And
I
that,
mean,
when I see something like this, like there's no other way to beat the COLA adjustment, really, on our pension. They're going to give us a couple extra percentage points. I think we need to diversify or increase our income sources ultimately.
well, and that's a great segue, right? I mean, I think the total compensation discussion for members when they're pursuing their next success becomes that much more important. And so, what are we talking about? We're talking, this is not just about, right, a base pay figure. I want to have a discussion on all of your direct and indirect forms of compensation and what does the total compensation package. So, for example, this individual that was pursuing this privately owned government contracting company, kind of in a succession plan, right? I mean, it was kind of an interesting discussion. I said, hey, I think you need to go back and have a conversation, right, with the owner founder of this individual, who's also the hire manager, bringing you in. And as we reviewed, right, the offer letter, I said, I don't see a discussion here surrounding equity in the company, right? Like, why don't you tee that up, right? And it may be something that you grow into over time, but I said, look, you need to at least go in and have that conversation, right? And the member that I was having the conversation with, he's like, wow, it just makes all the sense in the world. And I said, yeah, tee it up, ask that question, right? So again, another member landed with Anduril, right? That was another company, right, that offers restricted stock units and how you negotiate that, and various different levels of 401k matching and things like this. While often a lot of those benefits are kind of hard set in a company, but some you can ask the question, and there's some latitude to move these things. So at the end of the day, it's not just, and I think the point you make is valid, it's not going to just be about this base pay. It's what else out there benefit wise, right? Flexibility wise. Are you going to pay for my parking if you live in Seattle? Man, that's what, 18 or 20 grand a year. I mean, what else are you going to do to make my life, easier and less of a burden on my life through these other indirect forms of compensation, right? And so,
Right.
yeah, I think it's a great discussion.
No, cool. Well, that's part of what basically the new presentation I was talking about that I'm going to be
Nice.
launching. It's war chest strategy for a wartime economy. Like when it comes to the finance, protecting income, increasing income, that's the name of the game, one way or the other. Whether it's retirement, new job, life insurance, it's all about income. So, given the chaos of what's going on right now and the nuances of military retirement and veterans benefits and all that kind of stuff, where can you get more bang for the buck?
Hey, have you launched this, or is this what you're putting together right now?
I've recorded it.
Okay.
I've got it ready to go. I just need to either put it on a website or send the video out to people if they want to watch it. Yeah,
dude, I would love to take a look at it. Shoot it to me. I'd love to.
Cool. Now, you saw about a year ago when we did do that in-person one, you saw kind of the 101 version of it, but this is a kind of more of a whole shtick. So anyways, looking forward to it. Well, cool, man.
Yeah, what's going on? I was like, you're busy, we're busy. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. No, we can I think call it a day there. Anything else?
No, let's give some thought, right? Next week, potential guest, right? We can kind of talk offline, but I always like when we bring on guests and they can kind
Yeah,
of
for
share a
sure.
little bit about their story and everything, right? And kind of what's going on. So
Yeah, my
let's
main thing
put our heads
is
together and figure that
yeah,
out.
where I'd like to kind of take this show is have more of your members come on, kind of tell
Yeah,
their success stories, share any tips, um, insights, and we can do these as often as needed or keep it to once a week, whatever. But anytime somebody's got something they want to share, let us know. It helps us organize this stuff. But
absolutely.
no, we're looking forward to a good year of sharing a bunch of insights with it. But it's not like we know it all. That's not the point of this. The point is to leverage this as the place to
And
come and share and learn and ask
yeah,
questions that others
to your
might not
point,
ask.
right? I mean, we hear throughout our weeks, right? As our week goes by, certainly here on the Blue Water side, we're surrounded by members, and they bring these experiences or issues or friction or frustrations,
Right.
and they lay them out, and we spend time dealing with this. So I've got a tip of the week, right? And this is going to be you and our next workshop topic, right? And it's going to come down to negotiating compensation, right? And I know Steve Weeman pitches this at all of our cohorts. I put this out till I'm blue in the face, but it still doesn't seem to be sinking into our members. And the tip of the week is, if you are engaging a company on just informational pursuits, meaning you're just going to go out, we're going to introduce you to somebody at a company, and you're going to have a conversation. They are likely to introduce you something very early on in your exposure to a company, right? You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared to answer the question. And it sounds something like this. Hey, Scott, man, I really enjoyed our conversation. Hey, can you just tell me, what are you looking for compensation wise, right? Just ballpark, what are you looking for? And 9 times out of 10,
Not enough.
our members are going, well, I was just having an information. Why do you want to talk about and they're completely not prepared. Every bit of content, every bit in our cohort, we tell everybody the first discussion on compensation is likely to catch you off guard. You have to be prepared before you even venture into having informational discussions. You better be prepared on how you're going to address that point, right? And if you're interested in learning the answer, and if you're interested in developing the strategy, sign up for a career progression cohort, right? We talk about this. We have content that is aimed at this. Trust me, the question will come sooner than you're most of the time ready for it. And how you respond to that is everything, right? So anyway, that's the
No,
tip of the week.
no, it's super important. That would throw me off. It reminds me, the one time I did do an interview it was for a company command, and the colonel at the time asked me, why do you want to take company command? And I was like, damn, I should have known how to answer this question, because I was in the process of out processing. But anyways, long story.
Yeah,
But
awesome.
I was like, oh man, no, that's the whole point. What's the value you're going to bring? What's it
Yep.
going to be worth it to you? At the end of the day, we're going to go through all these interviews and stuff. Are you okay with the amount we're going to pay you?
Yeah.
Might as well get that off the table,
Yeah,
and then you getting comfortable with it.
exactly. And it's not an offer at that point, but
No.
people just really want to know, are we in the ballpark? But how you respond to that without tying your hands for future conversations is key.
Ooh,
And we spent a little bit
that's
of
the
time
secret
talking about
sauce.
it. There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right,
Well,
man.
thanks, Scott. Enjoyed catching up, man.
Yeah, for sure. No, we will do this again next week, and
Love it.
have a great rest of the week, everybody.
Yeah. Great week, everyone.